anybody, but some of these features we've already talked about, so yes. So let's rock and roll real quick. So let's answer some of the questions here real quick as we kind of go over it. First of all, you have two individual antennas. Mine is snapped off because people cannot take care of my gear, but I mean, it works. It's just a little screw in there just kind of came undone. You've got two antennas. You've got your Wi-Fi and your Wi-Fi. Now, if you're not familiar with the Wi-Fi antenna, it allows you to control other ADJ lights to use the Wi-Fi wireless protocol. If your lights are not wireless or you're not using ADJ lights, you can use a Wi-Fi transceiver to connect this to your Wi-Fi. And you can connect it to multiple transceivers as long as they're on the same channel. If you want to be old school, we've got this little hand. Oh, there we go. This little handy dandy doohickey. That's a DMX out port for those of you that are unfamiliar. So you can yeah, handy dandy DMX doohickey. As a matter of fact, the D in DMX stands for doohickey. Yeah, doohickey multiplex system. That's what it stands for. And of course, this has a built-in router. And you know, one of the things is that obviously the further you are away from it, the more of a lag that there is going to be. This is not the most powerful wireless antenna because it's right next to the Wi-Fi antenna. So the priority for ADJ was to make the Wi-Fi antenna strong because it's an EXR antenna. You can control this thing from 2,500 feet away. But you want to be about maybe 75 to 100 feet close to the Airstream Bridge DMX. So if this is across the room, you may have a little bit of an issue. There's a solution. I'm going to show you that in just a moment. Yeah, it's exciting. So let's go ahead and open this up right now. I don't know. People are saying now they can't see us. John, can you see me? All right.
You and I are at the top of the Zoom screen, and then you must have two computers hooked up to Zoom at the same time.
Okay. I don't know. So far, I'm good on my end. So, guys.
Yeah, we're good here.
Please let me know. Let me double check here on the stream now, because now that everybody has me all paranoid. Yeah, it shows I can see me, so please let me know.
Yeah, I'm still seeing you.
Yeah, James says the Disc Jockey News live stream is running smoother. So, guys, go on Disc Jockey News if you can't see it too well on here. But let's go ahead and open up my iPad. Yay! All right, so we've got one of the app right here. This is the Airstream Bridge DMX. Now, it's not going to connect to my iPad right away because it's not on the same network. But basically, you're going to see Airstream Bridge DMX, and it will connect to this. So, John, I know that you've used this before.
Yes.
Awesome. So we're going to answer some of the questions. We're going to go through some of the walkthroughs. First question, Chris asks, is the antenna on the Airstream supposed to detach from the base? Mine seems to separate easily, maybe too easy, but it snaps back into place. If you're talking about the actual little bendy part, they do detach, some of them a little bit easier than others. But if you talk to service, I'm sure they'll get you hooked up.
They do. Mine have come loose and they just snap back on.
So, somebody's saying they can hear me on mobile, but not on a laptop. That's interesting. Hang on one second. Let's see if we can fix that. Check, check, check. Check 1, 2. All right, hopefully you guys can hear me there. So, as we look over here on the iPad, we've got our main... What the heck was that?
Oh, hang on. This is for the appointment on Monday. I got to bail for a sec.
All right, no problem. Okay, so for those of you tuning in real quick, this is our first screen, which is our fixtures window. Our fixtures window is pretty easy to work with because all we got to do is patch it over here. Now, right now, there are no fixtures. We're going to go ahead and patch our very first fixture. And remember that I have full tutorials that are much better than this stream available on my YouTube channel. So if we look here, our custom profile or our regular built-in profiles, we have tons of ADJ fixtures. So we can easily grab. So let's say we have the Warlock. All right. And we just have one Warlock. We're going to patch it. Bam. There we go. And we can go over here. And we can individually modify different things. So I can name the Warlock. I can change the actual DMX address. But I can also change the image too. So I don't really have a picture of a Warlock here. So let's go ahead and get one real quick. Because let's say that I'm super picky. And we're going to do, hang on one second. There we go. ADJ Warlock. And guys, please let me know if you can see the iPad. All right, and I appreciate all of your help. So we're going to go into our images, and we are going to steal an image from ADJ.
No,
No,
we can't. We can't steal.
But I did. All right, so now we've got. Okay,
Gosh.
so now we're going to go over here. We're going to go into our profiler there. And what the heck happened to my connection? Why did it just kick me off? There we go. Okay, so I'm going to click on the little icon here, and it says ADJ would like to access my photos. And I'm going to go to my Warlock. We can move and scale. Use it. And there it is. So, John, now you can actually see the Warlock.
Yeah, that's what I do. I love that feature.
It's great because it definitely makes it much easier to be able to use in that. So, now that we've got that done, what happens if you bought the brand new Chicken Scan 5000?
Oh my gosh, I would be the coolest DJ ever.
It is, but we do not have the Chicken Scan 5000. So a lot of times what happens is people will be like, James, can you make a profile for me? And James is like, sure. In reality, James is like, make your own profile. No, I'm just kidding. James is happy to make profiles. But
No, he's not. He's a grumpy old Gus.
But on the bridge, it's not. I mean, yes, you can transfer profiles, but guys, by the time you email James asking him, you could have made your own. So we're gonna go ahead and make our Chicken Scan. So we're gonna call just Chicken, and the button name is gonna be called the Chicken Scan 5000.
But now see if you make them too big. Now, have you found that the button, the text kind of doesn't fit below the button very well?
Yeah, and that's something that I know that he's working on. It's you're the limitations of what Apple is currently doing.
Yeah.
So we are going to go into our button images, and we are going to load a picture of our Chicken Scan 5000. There it is.
Ooh,
right there. That's the
that
XL
is
model.
Yeah, that's the latest model. Nice.
So the nice thing about this is, with most DMX software, if you tell it that we're going to have our pan levels, right? So we have our pan, all right? And then you have tilt. With most DMX software on the profile maker, you have to not only name it pan and tilt, but you have to tell it this is, X and Y. This automatically sees it. So whenever you're ready to actually do where you can control it with your finger or do all sorts of crazy stuff, this automatically recognizes. So make sure you use the standard names that it tells you to in the manual. Pan, tilt, we have where you can do red, green, blue. So for now, we're just going to call this color because the Chicken Scan 5000 has a color wheel. We have our cluck level. This gives you the amount of cluckiness of the Chicken Scan 5000.
Which is great to be able to control, by the way.
Absolutely. We have our F YouTube. This is basically where I swear at YouTube. All right.
Wasn't that a new feature on the Chicken Scan 5000, which wasn't on the Chicken Scan 4000?
Yeah, it's definitely a new feature on there, and I wish ADJ would get with the times and put that in their InnoScan series. But the Chicken Scan 5000 is ahead of its time, I guess.
It is. It is. It's revolutionary.
It is. You could almost say it's revolutionary. See, rooster? Yeah, okay.
I saw what you did there.
And the last one is Gobo. Now, if you guys look here, it has we have different fade modes. John, do you know what these fade modes do?
I don't. That's a question I've been wanting to ask you.
So on the fade modes, you can actually, if you actually have it set where you can fade from one scene to the other, you can set how each individual fade is going or channel is going to fade. So if you are going from a strobe, from a solid, a solid shutter on to close, but there's a strobe in between. If you have it where it just snaps, it'll quickly just snap in.
Yeah.
And if you have it where it does the fade, then it'll go from, let's say, level 0 to level 255. And that's really good for a dimmer or anything like that. So yeah, I'm actually going to do a full video on that because each of them do different things, but that's what gives you really smooth chases. So if you want to have it or fade from one scene that's red to blue and you don't want it to just snap from red to blue, you can actually have it fade from that red to blue.
Nice.
So that's really cool. And John, if there's any questions that pop up on yours, please be sure to let me know. So
Yep, I'm keeping an eye on things.
awesome. So there's the Chicken Scan 5000. We are going to go ahead and override the DMX address, though, because I already have my Chicken Scan 5000 on DMX address 13. And then we're going to click on Save. It has been successfully saved. So there it is. We've got the Warlock, and we've got the Chicken Scan 5000. So again, if I click Auto, I can overwrite it. Save. Overwrite. Done. I don't know why it's not saving. What the heck? What did I do here?
See, I've been finding recently, Arnaldo,
there we
I've
go.
got to save
Gotta
it
click it.
twice to get it to save properly.
Well, and I am on a very serious alpha right now. This isn't even a beta. This hasn't even been released to the beta testers. Because if you guys are not aware, you can join the ADJ Airstream DMX group and request to be signed up in the beta test. So there you go. So you have the override. You can save it.
Did that change from profile to when you turn the iPad? Because
Yeah, that's one of the new features. We're not supposed to tell them yet, John. You're leaking secrets.
You're the one who leaked it out, not me.
Okay, so there we go. So you can
Ed McMahon. I'm just sitting on a couch going, ho, 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 ho.
So you can actually see where it overrode. So we have our Warlock and our Chicken Scan. I'm going to go back over here onto our main page, and there it is, the Warlock and the Chicken Scan 5000. Ooh. So
nice.
how do we program? Well, we're going to select the Warlock for now, and now we have our channel fixtures. And guys, it's just as easy as being able to grab your pan, your tilt, your, let's say we have our gobo or colors, we have our gobo set, our rotation, we have our shutter all the way on, dimmer all the way on, and we've got these little plus and minus buttons so you can fine tune it, which is really nice. And we're going to save that as a scene. So we're just going to go over here and save it. We're going to sign it. And now we're going to go over here. Whoops. And we're just going to call it Warlock 1 because I'm so creative with freaking names.
You are a master.
All right, and then button appearance. Now I can click this and then move it around and choose random colors, or we can do an image. So if I have an image of the show, I can put it there, or here, I'll just use this random image there. All right, use, save, and done. And there it is. We have saved our very first scene. So one of the nice things about this is that you can go back. So if I go over here and I select that, you'll see there's the channels there. If I go over here and deselect it, the channels all deselect. Unlike traditional DMX software, this is almost very similar to CompuShow where it's live. So I can grab my scene, change it, and let's say, okay, I don't like that color, John. I'm going to change the color to white. I'm going to leave the gobos to all open. And now, there's, that scene is being overwritten. So I can go ahead and save it if I want to edit that scene, or I can just go over here and save it as a new scene. And there it is right there. So you'll see that I go into my channels. There's the second scene that I just made. Or I can go over here, and there we go. But now you can stack lights on top of it too. So let's say, for example, if we have this scene right here with the Warlock, and now we're going to add our Chicken Scan 5000. I'm going to select the Chicken Scan 5000, deselect the Warlock for now, select the Chicken Scan 5000, and we are going to bring just our cluckety level all the way up high. Our FUtube level, that's about pretty all the way high too. Our gobo, we're going to leave it open. And color, we're going to do red because I'm angry right now. And we are going to do an effects tab too. So we have this here, and we're going to go ahead and save that scene. There we go. So now we save it. So now this scene has the Warlock and our Chicken Scan 5000. But now we haven't made the Chicken Scan move yet. So now we can go into our effects and shape. So this is really cool, and you're going to see some new stuff that has not been released yet. You guys ready to see some of the new features? Yeah.
I don't know. You teased me when you turned the thing sideways before, and now I don't know if I should say yes or no, or I'm confused.
All right, so first let's talk about the pan and tilt, right? So there's the Chicken Scan 5000. If I hit play, you can see the Chicken Scan 5000 right there. See, you can see where it's moving around.
Yep.
And we can actually draw. So this is my favorite thing, right? Because I can sit here and draw. And then I'm going to hit close to close that. And now it's moving. We're going to speed that up. And John, I don't know. I'm sure you've played with this one before, right?
A little bit, but this is one I need to really get into. I haven't done enough with it yet.
Okay. Well, I don't know if you know this. This is one of my favorite features. So notice that I'm drawing. I'm just going to draw a circle. And then I'm going to do it really fast. And then really slow. And then we're going to close it. Now watch what happens. It actually remembers how fast I drew it. Now you're going to see that it's going to speed up in just a second. So you see how it speeds up there?
Oh, that's cool. I did not know that.
Yeah, so it actually remembers how fast you drew. Or, of course, now you can do points. So, there we go. Close. Done. But John, check this out. You see this little speed button right here? If you click it, you have offset. So if you have multiple chicken scans or moving heads or whatever you're using, you can now fan or phase them.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so what's really exciting about this, though, is that we can apply this effects to the Chicken Scan 5000, or if we have the ADJ Focus Spot Z3, 3Z. Wow, good thing I'm a product specialist.
Yeah, good.
So now that we have that, all we're going to do here, John, is we're going to select that with our effect that we just made. Actually, we're going to save the effect first. So we're going to save it. We're going to go over here, and we're just going to call it Zig. Save it. And it says button 1 because I did not actually name it Zig. I mean, I named the file, but not the button, but, you know, whatever. So we have the Zig button, and then we can actually save it to this scene. Whoops, I keep clicking the wrong thing. Overwrite, and now you're good. So now we have the Warlock and the Chicken Scan 5000 going absolutely crazy out on the dance floor. When you're selecting your scenes, and this is where I want to make it, you know, kind of well known. If we select our first Warlock scene, you'll see the channels of the Warlock are set, and there's no effects applied. But when I select this scene right here, number 2, we have the Warlock has been changed. You can see that the Chicken Scan has been applied, and this effects has been chosen. So if we make other effects, we can actually override the effects of this particular scene. Because this scene doesn't have the effects memorized in the scene just remembers that we recall this effect, so you can dynamically change it. So you can really busk your shows on the fly. Let's say, John, that you're doing a grand entrance and you need to follow people around, right?
Yeah.
So now, actually, sorry, give me a second here. We have our Chicken Scan 5000. If you can select your colors, like if you have flood, like LED floods, you can actually select your colors here. You also have amber, white, and UV. But for the selected moving heads, you can now move your moving head using your finger. So that makes it really easy to be able to control. And of course, once you have your show set up or your scenes, you can actually select it as a show and add individual steps. So there's our first step. We're going to add our Warlock, and then we're going to add our Chicken Scan 5000 effect that we made. And, you know, you can save it, and now you can, you know, save it and replay it as a show. But you can actually time it. Let me go back over here for a second. Let's see. So there we go. Why? There we go. Jeez, boy, good thing I've done this before. So we're going to select, let's say we have it for 8 seconds. We have the first step. Then we have the next scene. It's going to be 2 minutes. And we have our Chicken Scan, and now we save it. And we save it, and you're good. But what's cool about this, John, I don't know, again, I don't know how much you've been playing with this, but because you can time it to an effect, this means that if you want to do individual parts of scenes to a song, then, you know, if you know that you want to change in the first 10 seconds of the song, great. Next 20 seconds of the song, you want to go into the next step. So now you can do synchronized shows to your song that you've done.
Very cool. No, I haven't dug into it this deep. This is much more in-depth than what I've done.
It's, you know, and it's great because, again, you can overwrite things. But now here's the one thing that the Bridge has that not even my DMX 2.0 has. So let's go ahead and add one more fixture, right? And before I do that, as you know, with ADJ My DMX 2.0, you cannot stack scenes, meaning you cannot run 2 things at a time. As you can see here, that here I can actually stack it. I don't know if you can see that. So if I select this and I select that, it shuts it off, and that's on. But then I can click that on, and both of them stay on. And it's a little confusing at first. But here's why. This scene has the Warlock in it. Remember that, John? And we used all the channels? Well, because those channels override the first scene, it shuts off the first scene because it overrides those channels, so that scene no longer applies. But because this scene only overrides the Warlocks and not all the channels on the Chicken Scan 5000, I can now override the Warlock on that second show. So
the Warlock scene, or the programming you did for the first button will override the programming you did for the second button with the Warlock.
Exactly. It will override a program if all the channels are being used. So, for example, if I have 2 scenes of just the Warlock, one's going to, you know, immediately shut off the other because you can run 2 Warlock scenes at the same time when you only have 1 Warlock.
Right.
But if I make a scene of just a strobe on the Warlock, then I can actually make a button to make the Warlock strobe. And speaking of that, if you actually go into your pages, you can enable it as a flash button. So if you're making like a strobe button, you can have it where it's on only when you select it, when you hold it down. So that gives you a few more options, because now you can stack scenes and you've got multiple pages on there. If you're a wedding DJ, this is huge, because you can name each individual button after a wedding couple. And as you're introducing the wedding couple, let me go back to the first page. So let's say this is the first couple, then the second couple. So now you can go back and forth between each wedding couple, and you have the names on there already.
Yeah.
So let's go over a couple of different of the new features, because again, a lot of this stuff, I mean, I don't want to sit here and like, hey, check out my YouTube channel, but a lot of this stuff I already have tons of tutorials on, right? So I want to really focus on what's new and answer any questions. And again, guys, if you have any questions on the bridge, now is your chance to ask them, because if you ask me later on my Facebook, I'm going to ignore you. No, but seriously, now's your chance. So let's go over a couple of the new features. First of all, when you're using an iPhone, you can actually, go from landscape to your horizontal / vertical mode, or landscape and portrait. The reason is because the iPhone, the way that iOS does this, they require your apps to pretty much be able to resize themselves. It's not like they've made two individual screens. Well, with the iPad, that was a little bit difficult because of the resolution of the iPad. So now that basically what Ken, the developer, did is he made two individual screens that the program sees. So now that means if you're on an iPad, you ready for this, John? What?
There it is. Look at that.
That means that officially the Airstream Bridge DMX will work on landscape mode. But John, I'm going to blow your mind.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
It's going to show up backwards?
No. Hold on. Ready? Hold on. I'm on. Oh, now watch. Now that I'm doing it live, it's not going to let me do it. Hang on. What are you doing, iPad? Oh, come on, guy. It supports multitasking, and yet, let me close out of there for a second. I know this is the Airstream that supports multitasking, so I'm trying to figure out what the heck. Why are you not doing? Oh my goodness. Hold on. Oh, I know why. Okay, so let me open up my wedding guide here, right? So we have my wedding guide. Sure, we'll use iCloud. I have my PDF. There is the people that I'm introducing, or let's say my timeline, right? Okay, so there we go. Now we can lock it in. So now, John, I can have my Airstream Bridge DMX and my wedding stuff or whatever other app running at the same time. Do you see that?
I do see that.
This is the complication right now that we have with Airstream DMX. Actually, with any iOS. iOS does not allow you to output stuff over Wi-Fi unless it's a very specific type of app. Unfortunately, lighting isn't that. We are trying to find a way around it, but no promises yet. What that means is that if you shut off the iPad or your iPhone, it will stop outputting your DMX signal. So you always want to make sure your iPad is on and it's on the main screen. However, with multitasking, even if I'm focused over here, it will still continue outputting DMX. But if you close out of that, it will not. So I tell people, do not shut off your iPad. And, well, I want to post on Facebook. Well, that's great. You shouldn't be on Facebook while you're working, and you should never be using your phone as your main control device. Get a dedicated iPod or something. I personally prefer the iPad because now that I have it like this, I have my request list and I have all my songs, and I'm good to go. This is perfect for a one-man show. Real quick, how do I activate more than one scene? Let's go ahead. Like I said, you just saw where we ran the Warlock, but let's go ahead and patch in a floodlight. So let's go into our floods. Oh, you know what? Let's do the dots matrix. Yeah, that's a beautiful light right there. We've got two of them. We're going to patch them. All right, fixtures. We're going to select both of them here. We're going to go into our colors. And we're going to, of course, we got to turn on our dimmer. All right, and our dots matrix is pretty much on, but we got to make sure it says strobe, but it's actually shutter, so it's 255 on. And now we're going to go ahead and save it as a scene, right? We've got actually, let's do an effect. So we're going to go into our edit effects. Not edit effects, sorry, shape effects, color effects. So we've got our dots matrix selected. We're going to go ahead and choose a color range. Hit play. We're going to make it a fast color swap. Now we're going to save it. We're going to just go over here. and call it dots matrix. And I'm not going to worry about naming the buttons, but you guys get the idea. We're going to save it. And now we're going to save it as a scene. So we're going to assign it as a scene. Save. Okay. There we go. So now, guys, this is the scene that I made with the Warlock. There's the dot matrix effects. And now you're good to go. If you do not want people to actually mess with your scenes, or not mess with your scenes, but activate more than one scene, you can choose solo. Which wants you to go solo, then you can only run one no matter what. So if you prefer not stacking, you select your solo.
And there would be times where that would actually be beneficial because, as you mentioned earlier, that sometimes if the lights aren't in that scene, it doesn't shut that scene off.
Absolutely. So the other thing also, John, is that I like to use this for, I like to use it for rentals, right? You know, if you're renting uplighting and you just go in there, set up all your uplighting, and then you give the control to somebody. But then what happens if they mess up your iPad? Like, okay, you come back and everything's deleted. So check this out. We're going to go into our fixtures. We're going to go into patch and then bridge on the upper right-hand corner. So let's go over these options here, first of all. You can turn on and off Wi-Fi. If you're going to hardwire your fixtures or use another wireless solution, God knows why you'd want to do that. You shut off the Wi-Fi. But make sure you select your channel. And it actually shows you, I mean, right now I have a pretty clean area here because I run on 5.4, not 5.8, not 2.4 gigahertz. But it'll tell you which channels are busy and which aren't. So I'm going to go ahead and go into my network, my channel. I'm going to choose channel 11. And then you can go into, and of course it's not letting me do that right now because the Airstream isn't hooked up here. But you would choose channel 11. And on your Wi-Fi, you want to choose opposite channels. You want to choose them as far away as possible. So if you're on 11 or 14, you want to go down to 0 for your Wi-Fi. Your network, you can rename it. So don't have it Airstream DMX Bridge. We made this mistake at DJ Expo and forgot to rename everything. So everything was clashing with each other. But on advanced settings, you can join an external network. And I'm going to tell you about that in just a little bit. This is new, just newly announced.
Nice.
And we also have a remote connection. I'll tell you about that a bit too.
Okay.
It's exciting. But
how about right now?
You see this little lock button right here on the upper right-hand corner?
I saw that. That looks new to me.
Yeah, so I'm going to leave it on 0. We're going to go ahead and lock it. Lock. Now check this out, John. It's on kiosk mode. They cannot delete or modify anything. All they can do is select scenes and shows. That's it.
Interesting.
So here's why I like to do that, right? If you're doing, let's say, like just a rental, really easy way for them to control it. If you want to actually, let's say it's a bar mitzvah, and I've done this with CompuShow and Easy Remote, but I'll give somebody the iPhone. I'm like, here, you get to control the lights, and it's really cool because they're dancing and they get to choose their favorite color. Or they push the button that says selfie, and all the moving heads hit one spot so they can take a photo with their phone or whatever. So that's something that that we've done that we've had good success with. And then to unlock it, you click on lock. Push the little controller, and now you're unlocked. So there we go there.
Very cool.
Yeah, so that's something that's pretty exciting, and this works both ways. So let's say if you want to go online and go on Facebook for God knows what reason, I can go over here, and there's my Airstream. So now the Airstream can also be on the right-hand side. It can be brought in as a secondary app. So let's close that. Whoops. There we go. So now we've got that completely open there. So more new features, John, and this is really advanced. But as an upcoming update, you will be able to use the bridge with more than just Airstream, including other DMX apps. Yeah, so let me real quick go over first our basic features. Now, some of these features may roll out in the final version. Some of them may not. We're still trying to figure out what the users, will be able to play with the most. Let's go into our bridge. And you actually see here that you can join it. When you click on Advanced, you can join it on an external network. So as I had mentioned before, if you have your Airstream Bridge DMX close to you, it won't be an issue. But if there's so many wireless networks out there that one of them is stronger than the other, your bridge may not show up or you may be too far away from it. So you can actually connect the bridge to an existing network, and then you connect your phone to that network. So this allows me to control lights in, let's say if I have 3 different rooms, I can now control the lights across all 3 of those rooms no matter where I'm at. And if you leave that room, after you break down from the event, next day you turn it on. If you turn on the bridge, it doesn't see that network, it automatically resets back to the default. So you won't accidentally lock yourself out of the bridge. If you notice here on the bottom, John, do you see where it says remote connection?
Remote connection. No.
Very bottom of the iPad screen. You'll see.
Texture, channels, effects, scenes. Oh, there we go. Remote network. Connect to a remote network. There you go. Yeah. I'm sorry. I wasn't looking all the way down.
Okay. Now you can control the Airstream Bridge DMX from halfway across the world over the internet.
Interesting.
Yeah, this is going to have some very interesting features. Now, you could do this even without this feature, but this feature basically makes it foolproof. So if you go to, and if you have a dynamic IP on your router, it's a little bit difficult, but there's DNS services that'll lock into your router. So if you go to, I can't remember what it was that Ken had told me. If you give me a second, I'll give you the address of one of those particular websites.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, what it does is it allows you to access your router through a regular domain name. You punch in the domain name here, and then when you connect to, obviously you have to make sure the Airstream Bridge DMX is connected to that router, which is connected online. But now when you connect your iPad online to that router, you can now control lights from across the world. So imagine if you're doing a rental and they're saying, hey, we're having a problem. Yeah, no problem. Let me log in and, change that color for you.
Mm-hmm.
So this is really good if you're doing a rental and you're going to be halfway, into another city and they want to change a color or something last minute. Now you can do it.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty big feature. But John, there's more.
We're not done yet.
No, there's more. There's way more. So
I need to sit down for this.
Oh, you do. John, do you see my chicken now?
I do. And that always sounds like a loaded question. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's Pepper. Pepper's a good girl. If you notice, there's the Airstream Bridge DMX app, but do you notice anything else that's special? Other than the fact that none of my freaking apps are installing at all, but do you see anything special by any chance?
I see a config, and I'm not sure if that other one is a related app there, but there's more than what I have on my...
Yeah, because nobody has this yet. Let's show it. Guys, just so you know, this is a Disc Jockey News and whatever we want to call my channel exclusive. Nobody else has seen this before. This is new. The configuration app is going to allow you to use your Bridge DMX with other software. And here's how. So we have two different DMX technologies. Obviously, you've got your DMX 512, which is archaic as hell. The DMX 512, we all know that goes out through an XLR cable. It's one universe.
Yep.
We've all heard the term ArtNet. And ArtNet is now supporting, or has a new version called ArtNet 3, which isn't really new anymore. But the cool thing about ArtNet 3 is that it works like any DHCP router, meaning that you just log in and almost like if you're connected to any kind of network, right, John? So if the software supports ArtNet 3, like I want to say Luminaire or whatever that other iPad software is, I believe it supports ArtNet 3. So you just turn on your ArtNet settings. You turn on your net, whatever net it is on, your sub-universe. And if you don't know what you're doing here, you really got to research ArtNet. But if you have a software that supports ArtNet, you'll know what to do. But all you do is select your universe. You have to have it on station mode, meaning you're not using the built-in router. So if you look here on the top, that top router, or that top here window where it says AP mode, that's your internal router. That's disabled. You have to connect it to a secondary router. When you connect it to that secondary router, or that external router, then you connect your iPad to it, or if you're using a Hog or whatever supports ArtNet 3. So now you can use this as an external universe. So if you have, let's say, for example, a whole hog system or a hedgehog, and it supports ArtNet 3, then that means that now you don't need to, you can use this as a wireless universe. This is a lot more advanced than most DJs are ever going to worry about. But this is great knowing that we have that option. Above that, it says SACN. That means streaming ACN. This is like ArtNet, just a heck of a lot easier. It's pretty much plug and play. It sees the network. Great, you log in, you're done. It has two-way communication. That's the best way that I can really say it. It's ArtNet the way ArtNet should have been. But you're talking, that's for like Grand MA, whole hog. And you might be saying, okay, well, if you have a, 6, 7, 20,000... Hold on one second. Monica, do you mind? If you have a $6, $7, $20,000, lighting board, why would you want an Airstream Bridge DMX? Well, because now you can use multiple ones of these and have them across different universes and just run it wirelessly. which is incredible. So as other softwares, if you see another DMX software, you're like, I like this iPad software better, that's fine. If it supports ArtNet or streaming ACN, you can use the bridge to wirelessly control to your iPad and still control the lights without using the Airstream Bridge software.
Interesting.
So that's pretty big there. And I'm a big fan of that. Below that, we have the bootloader. Basically puts it in bootloader mode, and you can update the firmware with a USB port that's found on the actual Airstream Bridge DMX. But yeah, that is essentially it. And all you got to do is unplug it to reset it, and then plug it back in, and you are good to go.
Wow.
So you guys are the first ones to see some of these features. Now, that app that I just launched may not even look the same. So that's why I said this is very, 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 very alpha. It will not, and it's not even in beta testing yet. But this part here, as far as being able to use it in, what's it called? Help me here with a word, John. Landscape mode. Thanks, John.
Oh, yes. I wasn't sure where you were headed. This part. What part?
I couldn't even remember. But there are a whole bunch of other features that are coming in. I don't want to tell you too much about it, but I know that one of the things that Ken has been working on has been a sound active mode. Ooh, yeah. So, and there's some other things that we're talking about, but I can't tell you about quite yet. So one of the things that I wanted to kind of mention is that what makes the bridge so special. There is nothing about this that was not designed in-house. John, I don't know if you've met Ken yet, but let me actually shut off my share screen for a second. Hang on. Yay. Okay, stop share. Can you see me now? Do I look pretty?
Yeah, you're there. You're there. I'm just going to switch, there we go. There we go. I had it set up so that we were showing the iPad, and then I made you and I a little bit bigger so they can actually see us, so they can see all three of us at the same. So that's just you and I.
So one of the cool things about this is that Ken he's the guy that did the Elation MIDICon. He did the show designers. He's actually written stuff for ADJ. So like if you actually open this up and everything, all the chips, everything, this guy designed everything in-house. And what's exciting about it is that, unlike a normal distribution deal, because everything's done in-house, if somebody asks for a feature, hey, I'd like to see this, and they post it on the Airstream DMX group, I know you and a few others posted, why is it not on landscape? And then Ken explained, okay, well, here's why. Is that something that's important to you? Yes. So, he started working on coding on that because it's all done in-house. If it's a distribution deal, you have to go through all these different people and go through all this red tape just to get a release. With Ken, he can pretty much do whatever you want. Obviously, he has to prioritize. But I think that's what makes the Airstream Bridge DMX so special over any other DMX software that's out on the market right now. It's 100%.
And of course, the reason why you want it in landscape is that most of your iPads, they don't sit like this.
Yeah.
I don't have my iPads in the house. They lay down like that.
Exactly. And if you have a little iPad stand like that, then you can have I have it on my coffin just like that.
Yep.
And I go between my virtual DJ stuff, my remote, and my lights. And even though I usually have my own lighting tech, and we do some big shows, there's a lot of times where I'm running my own setup. And I can run a pretty kick-ass show with this guy right here.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and go into the questions here. Can you we already answered how to activate more than one scene. Do we know if ADJ 2.1 will eventually have the stacking feature? No, 9DMX 2.0 or 2.1 will not have it. But remember when we said that you need to get the 2.1 box because it will support future versions? We don't know what the future holds. Well, I mean, I do, and John does, but you don't. But either way, you never know. As of right now, my DMX 2.0 or 2.1 will not be supporting the stacking because, believe it or not, it's a lot more complicated than it sounds. But Airstream Bridge DMX does. So if you want that right away, go with the bridge. FL Hines asks, can this app be synced to Virtual DJ for queue settings to activate a light scene? Not yet, because this is an iOS app. Virtual DJ is not. So there is no way to actually sync it with Virtual DJ. There are some things that we've talked about in the background. I can't give you too much information on that, but we are trying to find some different ideas and ways to really integrate the setup to make it as easy as possible. And I just say we because I just, send ideas over. Ken's the one doing all the work. The man is a magic master when it comes to that. John, any questions from your end?
Everyone, they've been just making comments on some of the things. So no, there's no questions. They're just watching and making a comment here, comment there.
Awesome. Well, guys, I just want to let you know in about 30 minutes, we have another show coming in. We're going to talk about the new iOS release or the new iPhone release. And even if you don't have an iPhone, you're definitely going to tune in because this is going to change a lot of what the DJ industry is going to have to offer, not only in terms of music, but also in promotional design. So, guys, tune into that. It's going to be very interesting. A lot of new information that's been coming out the last 24 hours. And John, do you have anything coming up in your channel this week? If you guys don't know, John, go tune in on John's channel to hear about his eye issue.
Yeah, you'd have to go. You can go to my personal page. Disc Jockey News doesn't have it. It's out on my John Young personal page. But just to give you a quick little I'm 47, and this past week I went to my eye doctor, and he said there was something weird with my retina. He wanted me to go to the next step up eye doctor pretty quickly. And I went down there and they're like, oh yeah, you've got a torn retina on your left eye and you have a torn retina on your right eye. And I haven't gotten hit or anything to that effect, just a fluky thing. And so I have to go in for surgery because if I don't get surgery on these things right away, in a couple of months, I will be blind.
Oh no, yeah,
so that's not cool. So next week's shows, Monday night, Jason Jones is going to be filling in for me. Because Monday morning at 7:15, I'll be going under the knife, needle, whatever they do for the laser stuff. But Jason will be filling in, and Monday night we've actually got the cool show that I'm going to miss is we have 3 ladies that are coming in. We've got DJ Kilma, Allison Farley, and oh goodness, Shani.
Oh, cool.
The 3 ladies are going to be talking about DJing from DJ Kilma, she's kind of a club DJ, an EDM DJ.
Mm-hmm.
Shani kind of crosses over between the mobile and doing the club stuff. And then Allison is a mobile DJ. And the 3 are going to talk a little bit about what they see from a female perspective in our industry.
Very cool. Very cool.
I'd love to have sat in. I'll watch the show, but I'll be the guy with a big old eye patch on Monday nights. I won't be on.
They'll be like, no. You'll be like wanting to chime in. Oh yeah, I'm not online right now.
Exactly. I'll be the guy typing in the chat room. And how come Disc Jockey News is asking Disc Jockey News questions? What's up with that?
So again, John, I hope you make a speedy recovery. Our prayers are with us, obviously. Ronnie, thanks so much for the heads up. We just fixed that there. For some reason, my screen went black. I just give up. It's just not working. So anyhow, guys, tune back in 30 minutes because we're going to talk about the new iPhone release. There's definitely going to be some ranting going on. Oh, I'm sure of it. So, including my recent experience with Apple and why I may be done with the iPhone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty big. Pretty big.
The customer service just isn't there anymore. But yeah. Either way, there's still some really exciting things, and we'll be joining with Dane Holman. He is a network systems engineer. The guy is really good at what he does, or an admin. I don't know. He just gets paid a lot of money to make sure things work good. So guys, if you're watching on Disc Jockey News channel, please subscribe to my channel. Search DJ Crazy Ace, and if you're watching on my channel, subscribe to Disc Jockey News. Thank you all for tuning in.
See you guys a little bit later.